even if you have a husband, he's useless, right? Indeed. Can you believe it? Despite it being our child's due date, my husband is planning a trip with his childhood friend. And guess what? She's also his ex-girlfriend. Seems like this guy values his childhood friend, his ex, more than his own wife or our child. If that's where his priorities lie, then he can go ahead and do whatever he wants. Well then, I'll just focus on prioritizing our child over you above anything else. I'll thoroughly knock you down, so brace yourself. My name is Jessica, and I'm a 40-year-old who absolutely adores cats. It's adorable when a somewhat independent cat occasionally comes and sits on your lap, isn't it? Some people say cats aren't cute because they're not affectionate. But I believe that aspect is just one part of a cat's charm. Yes, even if cats aren't affectionate, they're still cute. But it's not the same in a marriage. 10 years ago, I was living with a husband who showed me no affection whatsoever. I was 30 at the time. It was my 3rd year of marriage to my husband, Stephen, and due to his job, we had just moved to his hometown. I was pregnant, and at the height of my happiness. Or so I thought. But I soon started regretting moving to my husband's hometown. My husband had a childhood friend who was once his ex-girlfriend. Her name is Ashley. She's 1 year younger than my husband, and I've only seen her in a photo once, but she's very cute. Thanks to that, I can't help feeling a bit uncomfortable about the idea of her being his ex-girlfriend. There have been times when I've felt anxious, thinking things like, does he still have feelings for her? However, I thought their relationship was pretty much over since my husband never mentioned inviting her to our wedding or anything like that. But then, one day when the intercom rang and I was about to answer it, my husband eagerly said, "I'll get it." Feeling a sense of unease, I handed it over to him and... "Well, take your time." While saying that, my husband invited that childhood friend into our home. I was taken aback because I hadn't heard anything about her coming over. I mean, even if she's a childhood friend, is it normal to invite her over in front of your wife? Isn't it a bit tactless? I'm constantly irritated by my husband's lack of consideration. However, my husband and his childhood friend are completely unconcerned about me and are having a blast reminiscing about the old days. It was really unpleasant to feel as if I were intruding on their home. After that, his childhood friend began to visit our home often. At first, I made efforts to be more understanding, thinking, if they're getting along in front of me, maybe their relationship really isn't romantic. Maybe I should be a bit more generous. But my efforts only lasted once or twice. Because every time she comes over, I'm the one serving tea, pouring refills into their glasses, while they chat away without ever including me in the conversation. My husband doesn't seem interested in including me in the conversation, and even when his childhood friend occasionally tries to engage me in conversation, he quickly switches to topics I don't understand, saying, "And by the way..." I couldn't tolerate the attitude that it was natural for a pregnant wife to serve, so I finally said to my husband, "I don't want you to invite her home anymore." "Why not? Can't I meet with my friends?" I'm also pregnant, so I'd like the home environment to be more relaxed if possible. The main reason is actually because I'm uncomfortable with my husband and his ex-girlfriend being friendly in front of me, but I was too afraid to say it because I thought it would make me seem petty. Then... "What's with that being so petty? It's a home where guest wants to come and visit again, so you should gladly accept them coming to visit once a week." Huh? I couldn't believe my ears at my husband's words. After all, I'm the wife. You're right, my bad. I thought I'd get that apology. But... So you're taking your childhood friend's side. I can't help but think that. Then, I'll say it clearly. I don't want to see my husband and his ex having fun in my own home. It feels like I'm being shown a scene of infidelity.
Huh? We're just interacting normally right in front of you.
But you keep me out of your conversations with her. As soon as I said that, my husband fell silent with an ugh. He seemed to be aware, or rather, it seemed like he had been doing it intentionally.
It's not cheating. I just returned to my hometown, so I naturally hang out frequently for nostalgia.
I'd understand if you bumped into each other on the street and decided to hang out next time. But you're the one who invites her to come over every time, aren't you?
It's normal if she's a friend.
You've never invited a male friend over to our house before.
That's just how it is with Ash.
I knew from the start that he referred to her like that, but it was naturally discomforting for him to address her by her nickname. It felt like he was using her nickname with a sense of familiarity, almost as if he were talking to his girlfriend.
Sorry, yeah, I might have gone too far. I'll reflect on it. I won't invite her over anymore.
Really?
Yeah, so cheer up.
Okay. As my husband said this, he hugged me and patted my head. Even this gesture felt rushed, as if it were just a perfunctory task. Is it my bad personality that makes me feel this way? It felt like there was no sincerity in it. And later, this hunch would come true. Since that discussion, my husband started coming home later and later. Feeling suspicious, I asked my husband, "Why have you been coming home late lately?" And then,
Huh? I'm just going to Ashley's house.
Huh?
Hey, don't get it twisted. Just talking, it's not cheating.
Why would you go out of your way?
You told me not to invite her over, right? I'm just keeping my promise.
I was left speechless by this unexpected turn of events. In essence, my husband's rationale was that since I said not to invite her over, he would just go to her place instead. Even though I couldn't comprehend it.
By fulfilling my wife's wish, I'm being a good husband, right?
He said with a smug grin, albeit jokingly. But it wasn't funny at all. Hey, why do you want to see that girl so badly?
Because she's my childhood friend.
Is that really all? I know better than that. I know you've been calling her late at night. Meeting up, talking on the phone. There's no need for that much conversation. Isn't there some other reason?
What other reason could there be?
For example, maybe you still have feelings for her? As I said this and glanced at my husband, his face visibly tensed.
What are you talking about? That's ridiculous.
He was clearly unsettled. This reaction only confirmed that my accusation was spot on. Enough. I retreated to my room in tears. My husband kept repeating,
I want to talk.
But I ignored him and went to sleep. Tomorrow is supposed to be our due date. I wonder what will become of us as a couple. Will we be able to welcome this child as husband and wife? With these worries weighing heavily on my mind, the next morning arrived. As I woke up, I heard commotion at the front door. What's going on? I wondered as I headed towards the door, only to find his childhood friend standing there. Beside her was a suitcase, and for some reason my husband was also carrying a suitcase to the front door. What are you doing? To my question,
Oh, Jessica.
he said, turning back to me seemingly nonchalant.
I'm going on a trip with Ashley now.
What? I didn't hear anything about this. Today is our due date. Why are you saying this?
I was going to tell you yesterday, but you fell asleep before I could, didn't you? It's Ashley's birthday today, too. I don't know if the child will really be born today, but it doesn't change the fact that today is Ashley's birthday. It's an important day.
I don't understand. So your ex-girlfriend's birthday is more important than our child's? And why would you tell me this right before your trip? It's absurd.
Because if I told you earlier, you'd object, right?
I'd object no matter when you told me. It's ridiculous to go on a trip with your ex.
That's because she's just my childhood friend now. Right, Ashley?
To Stephen's question. That's right, there's really nothing going on. Ashley laughed. There's no way I can believe that. Cancel the trip. Who's more important, your child, whom I've been carrying, or your childhood friend over there?
Oh, don't be selfish. It's a waste to cancel, so I can't do that.
Being flatly refused by my husband was shocking, and tears welled up in my eyes involuntarily. Even if it's the due date, it's the wife who gives birth, so even if he's there, he won't be of any help, right? Once the child's born, I'll take him to the hospital immediately.
Certainly.
Saying that, both my husband and childhood friend laughed. Ignoring my objections, they left the house, saying it was time for the train. Unable to endure the mistreatment, I collapsed at the entrance and cried for hours. Feeling anxious about being alone so close to giving birth, my in-laws who lived nearby came to the house. From then on, I started preparing for childbirth, but there were no signs of labor. In the end, our long-awaited daughter Sophia was born 1 day later than the due date. It seems my husband, who had been informed of the birth by my in-laws, had returned from his trip just in time.
Oh, she's born! Congrats!
My husband said with a smiling face. And strangely, right next to him, "It's my first time holding a baby," Ashley said excitedly. "There's no way I'd let you hold my child." An unknowing nurse tried to hand the baby over to my husband. My husband also happily said,
I'm the dad.
Reaching out to pick up the baby. Huh? Who's that? As I said that, my mother intervened and took the baby from the nurse. My husband received cold glances from both his parents.
Huh?
My husband exclaimed in a foolish voice. Mom, bring that out. And my mother took out a piece of paper from my bag and handed it to my husband.
Huh? Oh, what's this? Divorce papers?
That's right. In response to my husband's stunned expression, I responded with a firm attitude. Saying I'm daddy so easily, huh? Shameless beyond belief. A man who goes on a trip with his ex on his daughter's due date has no right to call himself a father. If that's the kind of father she'd have, she's better off without one. Up until now, I alone had to endure it, but now my children will be involved. I don't want to do that. So I'm getting a divorce. I always thought it was better for kids to have both parents in the same room, but even kids wouldn't want parents who fight every day over their exes. To my words, my husband responded.
Hey, it's too hasty. Don't be so upset over a trip.
With a smirk, he tried to lighten the mood here. However, whack! With the sound of a snap, Stephen staggered. It was my mother-in-law who slapped him across the cheek.
Don't take childbirth lightly. You lack a lot of awareness as a father. If Jessica had been alone when she went into labor, there could have been a chance she might have lost her life.
In her anger, my mother-in-law's breathing became heavy, and my father-in-law tried to calm her down. But even he was also angry with my husband.
I am ashamed to have raised such a son.
He glared at my husband with bright red eyes.
What the hell? Even my mom and dad? It's just a trip, right? I didn't cheat on her. I'm this child's daddy, remember? Isn't that a bit too much?
I don't think of you as a father. When I involuntarily raised my voice at my husband's words, my sister-in-law gently patted my back, saying, It's not good for your health. After childbirth, I deeply appreciate that my in-laws paid the extra fee to make the room a private one, expecting there would be disputes when my husband came. None of us could contain our anger towards my husband.
We can't leave Jessica with you anymore, Stephen,
his parents replied. Amidst an atmosphere completely hostile to my husband, my father-in-law uttered,
Now that the child is born, Jessica, we consider you family regardless of whether you two divorce or not. But you, we don't believe in you anymore. What?
My husband raised a bewildered voice.
You're disowned too. Never show your shameful face to us again. Oh, come on, Dad. That's too much. We're tired of you not understanding the gravity of the situation. We don't need a man who prioritizes his own desires over protecting his own child and our family. You don't have to say it like that. Not just you, Dad, but Jessica too. We've only been married for a few years, you know. I've even talked to my colleagues about having kids. I don't want to lose my family like this, especially not at a time like this. Rethink this.
Even after all this, you're still selfish. Don't you care about losing your family? I don't know, did you ever really see me and our child as part of your family?
Well...
Upon hearing my words, my husband glanced briefly at Ashley. You still love her, don't you? Why don't you start over? You can marry her instead, couldn't you? At that moment, my husband's eyebrows twitched, showing a moment of hesitation. He might not be entirely opposed, but perhaps he was considering how Ashley felt. However... What? Wait, Jessica, I assure you, I have absolutely no interest in him anymore. I was just a middle schooler when we dated, and I admired older boys back then. I really don't see Steven as a man anymore, not even a tiny bit. My husband, stunned, his mouth agape, was frozen in disbelief as Ashley spoke with unwavering clarity. Besides, I was just proposed to by my boyfriend the other day.
Huh?
My husband seemed taken aback by this revelation, his face going from pale to even paler, standing there in utter shock, apparently unaware of this development.
Wait, did you mention a boyfriend? To me? I didn't ask, but...
Huh? You didn't ask me. You're not even family, so why bother telling you?
You have a boyfriend, and yet you went on a trip with me? I thought we had mutual feelings.
Well, you're married, and neither of us sees each other in a romantic light. Besides, it was my birthday, so you treating me to the trip was actually a win-win, right? And plus, my boyfriend is away on a business trip, so I couldn't see him anyway. My husband was aghast at Ashley's words, which were so reasonable. Indeed, for her, my husband was just a childhood friend, and this trip was simply him being her wallet. You could tell that Ashley had absolutely no interest in you, but you still liked Ashley, didn't you? That reaction. My husband was speechless when questioned by me. Seeing that, Ashley said, Well, that's troubling, with a genuinely disgusted expression. Because I felt like we were like family. If you saw me in that way, Steven, I'll stop being friends. Seriously, gross. Ashley said with a straight face, leaving my husband in tears. Oh, he was a sight to see. Ashley left with a simple, see you. No one could bring themselves to speak to my pitiful husband. Most troubled of all would have been the nurse.
I just brought your child here in this atmosphere.
Seemed like she wanted to ask, what should I do? Well, I understand now. It wasn't infidelity, but... Anyway, I'm going to divorce. Please pay child support. My husband did not reply to me as I spoke, unable to contain my laughter. Or rather, I don't think he could. My sister-in-law pulled my husband, who was stunned and groaning, and locked him out of the hospital room. Afterwards, for a while, my husband...
I don't want to be alone. It wasn't cheating, so please forgive me.
He cried and resisted the divorce, but I proceeded with the divorce without giving any room for negotiation. Having a child really does make a woman stronger. I felt I should divorce from such a husband as soon as possible and focus on raising my child. I could think that, thanks to my child. I received child support, and even the compensation I thought I wouldn't get, I received. Because the marriage was short, my in-laws, worried about the lack of significant property division, yelled at my husband until he paid up. They supported me and my child's life. Thanks to that, our life was comfortable without any inconvenience. On the flip side, my husband got disowned by his parents, just as they had proclaimed, and he ended up handing over all the money he had to me. He had a job, so he quickly found a place to live. But it seems he lost his standing at work. My husband was hiding the fact of our divorce at work. He seemed to be pretending to be a great dad, actively involved in parenting, as if he had a family. However, he was frequently spotted buying a single portion of lunch at the convenience store. Somehow, the divorce was discovered. In the office, he seemed to have become quite uncomfortable being recognized as the guy who pretended to have a family. Among the female employees, "He's delusional, isn't he?"
I thought he never had a wife in the first place.
Such rumors spread, and people treated him completely like a loser. Even my husband has to pretend.
I left my wife,
He apparently said. That surely garnered even more resentment from the female employees. It's foolish to tighten your own noose and limit your options just because you hold yourself in such high regard. He continued to work while being looked at with disapproval, unable to quit his job due to having to pay child support. On the other hand, my child has grown up and become a bit cheeky lately. "Mom, if you skip the night lotion, your lines will deepen." Why do you say such things? What's with that slightly snarky comment? I think to myself, girls grow up so fast. I too admired my parents' cosmetics when I was in elementary school. It's an age when one becomes aware of beauty, so I guess it's a path everyone takes. As my daughter suggested, maybe I'll start patting some anti-aging lotion on my laugh lines with a cotton pad. She's a precocious and sassy daughter, but she even helps with cleaning. Lately, it seems she's taken an interest in cooking, and we've been spending more time making dinner and sweets together. She's eager to bake cookies for my in-laws this weekend. My father at home has taken up bread making, so I plan to join him for lessons next month. When I first decided to become a single mother, I was really anxious. Could I really make my child happy? I worried about whether I would make them feel lonely or impoverished. But looking back, there's been far more support for my child, far more love for them to grow up with than when I was living with my husband. Some still say it's better to have both parents together. There are still people who say such old-fashioned things, but what's important is how many caring adults are there for the children. We're never just one mother and one child. Supported by many people, we've become a family. That's how I feel every day.